Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Grave Matters. I'm Creepy Clown Girl, and next to me is the amazingly talented Filia Noctis. Hi, Filia.
Hi, sis. I think you all know Creepy Clown Girl, who just introduced me, my wonderful sister from another mister. We have a very special ghost. See, there you go. You put it in my head. We have a very special guest for you guys tonight. Tonight is actually my birthday stream, and for my birthday stream, I brought in one of my dear friends and one of my oldest friends in the horror community, Mr. Extremes. Welcome to the show. Extremes.
Greetings all. I did not know it was your birthday.
Yes.
Sorry that you weren't here.
Thank you. My birthday was Tuesday. So I've been planning this for a while.
All right.
It's very nice and an honor to have you here. Hello to everyone in the chat. I see Hair Raising Narratives. Hi, HRN.
Hello. And we've got Patience. Hello,
Hi, Patience.
She's so wonderful. She lends us her husband every week.
Right. Hello, Derringer.
And Derringer, who comes up with some great questions. Some of them are questionable. Some of them are pretty good. Throwdown. Say that song is Throwdown. Okay. That song is Throwdown.
Kitty is still here. Hello, Josie.
Is she still here? Hello, Miss Josie.
I'm not sure.
Oh, thank you, thank you, Patience. So, Mr. Extremes. Gosh, we've known each other for a long time.
Yeah, you were one of the first people that I recognized, showing up on my videos and stuff multiple times. You were one of the OGs.
Yeah.
Original dreamers.
Yeah.
Always appreciate it.
Actually were one of the first people to ever say, hey, tell me your stories. Your true stories. And you recorded them. Or your first podcast.
That was a great podcast. I remember watching that from beginning to end.
Yeah.
Non-stop.
That was a long time ago too.
Oh yeah.
That was different. That was not like this one. That one was not live. Or was that live?
Well, my first podcast per se was my first live stream. I would consider that was live, but the I think you were my first guest on the interview style format that I did.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, and that was I don't think that was live. I think we did that offline, and then I kind of put it together later. Yeah, because I honestly had no idea what I was doing, and you were very gracious to lend your stories and your voice to that project.
Oh, it was fun. I had fun.
I remember watching it. It was great.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Extremes, yes, it was. So, Mr. Extremes, for those who may be watching or those who later will be watching, can you tell us a little bit about Mr. Extremes and how you got your name?
Sure. What I'm doing these days on my channel is kind of just a whole bunch of different stuff. I started recently getting back into weekly uploads where I read true stories that I get from either trusted sources or allowed sources on Reddit. But the most often type of story I get are derived from people that send me emails directly about things that have happened to them personally. So it's firsthand information that they claim to be true. I don't look too far into it, and I kind of write it up. I read the story, and what I do nowadays is read the story live and take input from the audience, from the people that are listening. They always have interesting insights and questions and comments and things like that and I sort of add that into the mix so that when I edit the video all together, it's got my reading of it, it's got my sound effects and stuff that I put into it and music, but then there's a whole section of discussion at the end, which is me personally my favorite part. So that's the majority of what I do on my channel nowadays.
Are you still doing the secret word?
Oh yeah, yep. And what's even better is now, I kind of crowdsource that. So depending on whatever funny or weird things happened during the reading of the discussion of the story, I have people pretty much vote on a code word, and
Oh,
then
cool.
I put that code word at the very end of the video, and whichever one gets the most votes, basically, a couple people throw out a potential code word that's relevant to the story, and at the very end of all my videos, there's a particular word that if you type that in the comments after the video, that's how I know that you watched all the way to the end, because I don't say that word until the very end of the video. So just a little fun thing for us to do.
The Dreamers, yeah. So how did you come upon the name?
This is an old story, one of many that I have, but hopefully I'm past the statute of limitations on this. But back in the day, I used to sell CDs at school, and I had all these different kids working for me who were going to different schools. I was a kid myself. These are my peers. I wasn't just having an army of little kids selling stuff for me. But I was homeschooled, and all these other kids in my neighborhood went to regular schools, and I would give them lists of CDs that I had to offer. They would come back with orders, basically, and cash. So I would give them the CDs, and I was known as Mr. X then, because I didn't want the kids at the schools knowing my name. So they would basically, the kids would know, all the kids knew at the schools were that they were buying DVDs and stuff from a person called Mr. X. So that's, for some reason, whenever I got older and grew out of that and decided to start a YouTube channel, I said, you know what? Mr. X, there's a few people who know me by that name, so that's there it goes. I have dreams, and Mr. X Dreams became the name of the store of the channel.
Wow. So now, were you burning these CDs for them? Or
Yeah.
Oh,
It was old school, like, early days of burning CDs.
Just absolutely burning them. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I got them from different places, and yeah, I'm not super proud of that legacy.
Well, we all have a past.
Yeah, I think I've made up for that, for those little small time flights.
Yes.
Since then.
And thank you for your service.
Oh, my pleasure.
Your service to your country has made up for the things you did as a kid. I want to give a quick shout out to my Christine. She's my Christine, not anybody else's. Hello, Christine Baker.
Christine Baker, hello.
Christine Baker, yes, she's my Chris. It's my bestie down in Phoenix. So how did you decide to come up with the dreamer and the dreams?
Well,
that's been a theme of yours throughout the entirety of your channel.
Yeah, it certainly has. I mean, right now it's not really the most popular thing to talk about on my channel, but dreams are always sort of in the back of my mind when it comes to the things that I think about on a daily basis when I'm thinking about these weird situations that some people find themselves in. And the first maybe 5 or 6 videos that I ever posted to YouTube were all just my chronicles of my nightmares. So I've always had these really strange and impactful dreams and nightmares. And my initial idea for the video for the channel was to basically write those down in like a narrative format and write them, turn my dreams into a story and share them that way. And it actually, after a few of those and a handful of people started watching and listening, I started saying, you know what, if you have dreams or any other interesting stories that you would like to share, then, send me an email. And when people started sending me emails, I was getting a lot more than just dreams. I was getting paranormal encounters of all types. I was getting cryptid stuff, which I hadn't even really been aware of, the world of cryptids. And I started saying, you know what, I'm going to start doing videos on this stuff too. And over time, that kind of, sort of overtook the dream content. But at heart, I still have a great reverence for the concept of dreams.
Yeah,
I do too.
I think they're very, very telling, prophetic.
Yes,
in many ways
they are.
And then sometimes I think they're just the junk drawer of your mind.
Right.
Yeah.
I think so too. But I've had some crazy dreams myself. But real quick, I mentioned it last week, and I'll mention it again this week real quick. Congratulations to As the Raven Dreams on reaching 5,000 subscribers. Well done.
Oh, congratulations.
Right. Congrats.
Cool. PA Nightmare just popped his head in.
Hi, PA. So, Mr. Extremes, since beginning your channel to where it is now, where do you see it going, and what do you want to see for your channel in the future?
I just want to keep having fun with it. I've every once in a while, I come up with a new way of interacting with the viewers, or a new subject matter to dive into and talk about, or just a new video format or a new way of streaming, and that's what keeps it interesting to me. And I really want that. I don't like putting stuff out just to put stuff out, although I do have sort of a quota schedule that I've set for myself at this point, where I do one video a week. Pretty much every Monday for the past 8 months, I've released a video, which before that it was like 2 years in between me. It would be like one video a year for quite a while. And I got demonetized a couple years ago, and that kind of hit my channel really hard. Kind of took a little bit of the wind out of my sails. Yeah, that sucked. But I after at some point last year or earlier this year, I just said, you know what? Let me just see what happens if I challenge myself to do one video a week, and for the next 6 months. And 6 months came and went, and I'm still doing it. And I kind of have a flow that I can manage with my personal life and with my work life. And I just like to keep that going. Still have fun with my live streams and talking to people in comments of the videos and all that stuff every week. That's all I really want.
And do you feel by doing that you've come back stronger and with a little bit more, I guess, knowledge of what works and what doesn't work for your channel?
Honestly, not really. I mean, I'm not really getting the influx of subscribers that I used to get before the whole demonetization fiasco. It's not really getting any significant growth, but the people that are there are really cool, and I like spending time with them. So that's really what matters. And I have fun whenever I jump on and do stuff. And then, like I said, I've been coming up with new things to do. Like now I'm drawing and making horror comics and stuff during live streams and things like that. And that's the kind of thing. It's just if I have stuff that I want to do and that I enjoy, I'll keep doing it. That's really the most important thing to me.
Awesome answer.
Yeah, I remember
Love your content.
I remember watching you draw on a live stream. You you had a background, a moving, a scrolling background.
Yes,
that had all kinds of cryptids.
Yes.
It was a shadow background. So it was, it was in silhouette, I guess is more of what I'm trying to say. So you had that gorgeous orange and stuff in the background, and then you had the black and white trees, and you had some buildings, and then you had all these different cryptids and stuff in the different, you had werewolves and dogmen and just all kinds of stuff in the trees. I think you had like Mothman in there, and that was neat to watch you. So I know you've always drawn, and you've done your own various for your God, words are hard tonight.
Thumbnails?
Yes, thank you. Your thumbnails and your stuff for your merchandise. The wolf's head. And then you had one for the longest time. It was very similar to the wolf head. It was kind of done in angles.
Well, there's one with my face.
Right,
That's
the one
like
with your
old.
Yeah.
One of the first images I ever created in Photoshop was that face. It's like the
so
classic
cool. How you did that
Mr.
with
X
the
logo.
angles. Yeah, that was so
Thank you.
the fact that you're still drawing and that you're doing it live is really cool. I think that's neat that you're still doing that. I'm glad that you're still doing that.
Yeah, that's part of what keeps it fun. I mean, there's so many different ways for me to engage and interact. I have so many projects and so many interests that there's pretty much always something that I can do on YouTube that I will enjoy, and there's a handful of people that will like me to see me doing that or to interact with me while I'm doing that. That's what I'm in the game for.
So you have amazing content, an amazing channel, and an amazing voice.
Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Everyone, I just shared Mr. Extreme's YouTube channel. So if you're not subscribed yet, please be sure to subscribe and check his content out. You'll enjoy it just as much as we have.
Check his stuff out. He's got some great content.
And be sure to tweet him out.
Yes, absolutely. Be sure to tweet him out, share him with all your friends. Very unsung narrator here. So we talked a little bit about the dreams, which has always been a theme of yours. Another thing that you've always talked about is, and I know there's at least one person in chat right now that has had these experiences, which is, again, words. I keep losing words. Sleep paralysis. I have never had sleep paralysis, fortunately, and I do consider myself fortunate because I think that would just freak me out. But you seem to collect people that have had sleep paralysis.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like a more common thing that I would have imagined it being. I never thought so many people experienced that, and let me just say, it is objectively a good thing that you haven't had that happen to you, because I don't think anybody likes it.
Yeah.
At all. There's nothing to like about it, in my opinion.
It's just like it.
Yeah.
What is Derringer talking about? Do you have it down?
Dark Horse Tales has a question for what Mr. Extreme's top 3 stories he's done.
Oh.
My top 3 stories.
If I read that correctly.
Let me see here. I'll check. I'll find out. I mean, do they mean my top?
I think
the top 3 stories that I like, or?
Yeah, I think what you feel are the top 3 stories. What you feel are the top 3.
Hmm. Okay. Well, there's my top story, like one of the most fascinating stories to me personally is the one called Alpha Class Cryptids, where the Wall Street guy was cutting through a park in Manhattan trying to get home because there was a protest, the Occupy Wall Street was going on, and he runs into almost like this pocket dimension where a homeless guy is being propositioned by these two otherworldly humanoid characters wearing trench coats and wide-brimmed hats. That is one of the most intriguing stories, and I actually did an interview about that one with the guy that sent me the story a couple of years after I posted the video. That was one of the strangest and most interesting stories that I've done. That's one.
I think I remember that.
I remember that. I remember both. I remember the story and the interview. That just was hair-raising, creepy. Like, just listening to it, you got the creeps up the back of your neck.
Yeah, I love that one. And I mean, the person seemed so credible, and
he genuinely believes it.
Yeah,
he believes what he's saying.
Yeah, that, and just the subject matter of it, and the way. And I always look at everything with a grain of salt, and I also look at I kind of have no choice but to take the stories mostly as entertainment, the entertainment value that it has, you know, like listening to a story and just suspending whatever disbelief I may have and just diving into it and just say, you know what, I'm going to take this for this face value and just let my mind run wild, let my imagination and my emotions just kind of flow in and out of this story so that I can put myself in the person's shoes and really try to experience it. And very few stories give me as much of the heebie-jeebies while doing that than this particular one. Like it's very hard to beat that one in my mind.
Yeah. I'm afraid that guy's gonna disappear one of these days. He's gonna get disappeared.
Yeah, I hope he's doing fine. I hope that doesn't happen, but hey, people disappear every day, unfortunately. And
they do.
Right.
Yeah.
And what would you say the other two are?
I would say another one would be, there was one story, and this one came from a friend of mine that I met while I was in training for something. And he's a fellow veteran, military veteran, and he told me a story about a strange creature that he and his one of his partners encountered in a jungle, a type of jungle. Let's say it was in the woods, in this far out military installation in a remote location. And it was this weird, almost like some kind of frog-like alien gray, Roswell gray type of being that was hopping around in the forest, and they actually saw it as they were driving. That one is called, I just called it a military monster or something like that on my channel. True encounters with a military monster. Now that I look at that, it doesn't make that much sense, but that is what I called it. It was like 5 years ago. Say again?
Made sense at the time.
Yeah, it totally made sense at the time, and I was pretty confident with it there, but it's like 5 years later, looking at the name, I'm like, wait, was the monster in the military? Or, I don't know. Yeah.
Totally gonna have to binge watch your channel.
Yeah, that one's going way back. I think that one's scheduled to be remastered or remade at some point. Because lately I've been doing I go back to the really old stories that I did that I really liked. And with the new, my current writing skill is much better than it was 5 years ago when I wrote the original version. So I go through and basically revamp it, bring it up to par with what I can do now writing wise, because I've learned a lot in the last 5 years, and making it more atmospheric and communicating the story in more effective ways, and not adding extra elements or anything like that, because these are based on actual emails from people giving me their testimony.
Right.
But I can definitely construct the world within the story a lot better than I did back then. So and with this particular one, this is about a vampire encounter. I just re-released it, I think last week or the week. Actually, this Monday was when I re-released it.
Oh.
This past Monday. It's vampire encounter. Yeah,
Right.
This young girl named Selena talking about a time that she was living in Nebraska and encountered what looked like a vampire attacking a woman across the street from her house. And she was pretty young at the time, but the thing that stood out to me about that story was that it was in the middle of the night. It was near midnight or sometime shortly after midnight. And she went down the stairs in her house, and the entire house, the light was red. It was like bathed in red light. And when she looked at the windows were covered in some type of almost like blood-soaked red colored pieces of paper or something. Like there was something plastered over all the windows in the house.
Oh.
And when she went back down, she went upstairs to where there was the window in her bedroom was broken, and there was part of it that was not covered by that material. Then she saw this creature, a man with a hoodie that appeared to be attacking a woman, and who appeared to be a vampire to her. And when that entity or creature or whatever ran off, she went back downstairs, and all that red paper stuff was gone. And that was something that it's something I'd never heard about in any kind of vampire, lore or mythology or what have you. I'd never heard anything like that. So
I've never heard it either.
Very, very intriguing to me.
It just gives me chills hearing it from you. Because I believe I did watch the video, but I'll have to rewatch it. Patience has a question. It's in Grave Matters chat in Discord.
Let me get this link up real quick. Okay, there is the link to Mr. Extreme's True Vampire Magic Story.
Yes.
He was just telling us about.
Yeah, there it is.
I believe when Filia and I did the poetry potluck, I believe you narrated one of my war poems, didn't you?
Yeah,
I believe I did.
Yes. And I wanted to say thank you. You did an amazing job, and it was truly an honor to have you narrate one of them for me. Thank you.
Well, it was my pleasure to be asked to do such a thing. Thank you.
Welcome.
It was wonderful having you part of that potluck too. It was a labor of love. I'm still not sure I'll ever do it again.
No.
So it made me crazy. The whole thing was
boy.
That was more than I expected to take on. It got so much bigger than I thought it would.
Hello.
It's a good problem to have.
Hello, Cece, for not knowing how to say no to anybody. Cece's like, sure, you're number 50. We can add you in there. You want to do 10 stories? Go ahead. Come on in. So, okay.
Patience has a question.
She does. She says, what is your favorite part of the process of making and or putting together a video? And with that, what do you feel is the worst part? And do you do anything to make it easier?
Okay. Well, I always try to make things easier on myself. That everything about my process on YouTube is about making it as painless as possible, so I will keep doing it and not stop doing it. So yeah, I always have little shortcuts and stuff like that. I have everything organized and sorted out, labeled, almost everything labeled, all my sound effects, my music, and all that stuff that I put into the videos. All my stories, which ones are written, which ones are waiting, which ones are coming up next. Those are all sorted out for the most part. And yeah, my favorite part is probably when I'm my favorite part of the whole process is talking about the story, like discussing it with the people listening live after I read it. Like the reading it is almost like a chore in a way compared to that, because reading, I'm not really interacting while I'm reading, I'm just reading it. But when I'm done reading it and I get to actually look at what people are saying about it, and I give my thoughts on it, and then I get to really dig into the chat, and people make these amazing observations. They catch things that I missed, like that I didn't think about during my little sort of commentary about the story.
Mm-hmm.
And excuse me, I had to get a drink of water.
You're fine.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite part of the whole process, is seeing what people come up with. Like, I wonder if the reason why the ghost was here might have been, maybe this happened in the past, and maybe it's trying to do this. And I'm like, whoa, I didn't think of that. That's my favorite part. That's the part that really makes me want to continue and show up and go live and read these stories. Even though I make all these mistakes, I'm always tripping up and have to reread things and stuff like that. I've decided I'll never be a perfect live reader, but it's all worth it to get to that discussion point.
Right.
I will definitely have to make it a point to try and attend as many of your lives as I can, because I just really enjoy everything that you do.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I have missed participating, and I think we need to make it a point of starting to get back to that.
Yeah,
Yes,
I remember
we
you
do.
used to be around quite a lot, Noctis. I used to love having you, but I mean, I know life happens, and
life happens, and things.
I'm notoriously bad at letting people know ahead of time when I'm going to be online. I kind of just pop up, and whoever shows up, shows up. I need to get better with that. Plan ahead.
Yeah.
You're pretty much on speed dial like all other narrators.
But I miss it, because we had.
I do too.
There was a whole group of us, and we had just amazing discussions.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So speaking of the whole group of us, Derringer wants to know what your top 3, and I'm guessing favorite, because he doesn't always write these things out, your top 3 favorite pizza toppings.
Black olives, green peppers, pepperoni.
Oh, man after my own heart.
Yeah.
I would switch
if I could have a pizza at any time. Onions are good.
Onions.
Hey, I'd throw those on additionally. Like, I mean, on top of those 3 items. Throw on onions.
Me too.
I don't like my bell peppers cooked.
Oh, really?
I just don't like my bell peppers cooked. Yeah, I like my bell peppers.
I'll eat bell peppers any kind of way.
So, Mr. Extremes.
Okay.
Go ahead, sis.
I was gonna say, I want to go back to, we didn't get to finish talking about the sleep paralysis.
Oh no, we didn't. Yes, let's do this. So it's got to be scary.
It's got to be. PA Nightmare, who was in the chat, and I hope he's still here, was the person I was referring to, that I know has had sleep paralysis, and he actually had made a comment that he, in the chat, that, hey, I've had that, and I'm like, I know, you were who I was referring to. So now, have you personally had the sleep paralysis?
Me, myself?
Yes.
100%. Yes, I have many times. More times than I'd like to recall.
Wow. Wow.
So what is it like?
Terrible.
I mean, do you feel like I know what sleep paralysis is. Mr. Nightmare Files told a story of him having sleep paralysis and watched one of his army buddies shoot himself in the head. But what is it like? I mean, I know you're paralyzed. What for you? What is it like?
Well, it's definitely it's almost like claustrophobia, the same feeling that I get with claustrophobia, which under extreme circumstances I can be a little claustrophobic. But it's the same thing, but you're not in an enclosed space. The enclosed space is your body. And there's panic, it's a feeling of helplessness, fear of the unknown, not being able to move, especially if you're also experiencing some type of hallucination at the same time, which seems to be frequent. It's very rare that I experience sleep paralysis and I'm not seeing something strange or impossible happening in my immediate surroundings. It has happened where I just wake up and my body is still paralyzed and nothing's happening. I'm just laying there, just trying to move, which still sucks. That's still a terrible anxiety-inducing feeling, but it's only compounded when there's a strange entity lurking nearby or something else is happening like that. Like, for example, I might have mentioned this somewhere else, maybe on one of my streams or something recently, but one time, one of the most impactful, mentally and emotionally impactful times that I had sleep paralysis was once when I was in bed. I woke up, could not move. I didn't realize I couldn't move at first. I was just laying there, but across the foot of my bed, just over the headboard, I saw like what looked like a small head bobbing, like it was walking past the foot of my bed. And didn't really know what was going on at the moment. And rounding the corner around my bed was what looked like a toddler, maybe a 3-4-year-old child. Round head, very dark silhouette, because the room was pretty dark, but it wasn't pitch black in the room at all. But and my eyes were adjusted, but this figure was much too dark for me to really see any features on it until it came up closer to me. And as it came closer to me, like around where kind of my waist level next to my bed, I could see this texture on this figure. It was almost like black sand, like glittering black sand. This entire the whole kid, the figure, the child or whatever, was made up of this smooth, glittering black sand type of material. And it was then that I realized my arm was hanging off the side of my bed. And this thing kind of took hold of my arm, like grabbed my hand. And then that's when I realized I could not move. And then this thing brings what seems to be a face near my hand, and I feel it biting my hand. And the bite gets harder and harder, and I could feel the bite. I can't move. All I can move is my eyes, but I'm feeling this thing biting into my hand. And when you're getting bitten, that's panic. It's time to panic. It's not. It's not fun. And Jesus. I'm panicking. I'm breathing. My breathing is increasing. And after a few seconds of that, before the pain gets too much, my memory of it blacks out. I'm not sure if I woke up or if I was able to move shortly after that, or if I just went back, like fell back to sleep. I'm not sure. I don't really remember what happened right now at the moment. But that was one of many times
Wow.
where I
Oh,
went through
hell
sleep
no.
paralysis.
So when you were able, like, awake or whatever, was there a bite mark?
No.
No.
And it didn't
Oh,
it didn't bite me so hard that I would have expected it to like draw blood or to
right.
leave a scratch or anything like that. But it was, you know, it's, you could bite something pretty hard. You can bite the meat of your hand pretty
Right.
hard and not leave a lasting mark.
Right.
So,
So,
but I don't know. It was a horrifying experience.
Have you
That is
seen-
truly horrifying. And
It
do you
is.
think when it comes to sleep paralysis, have you or anyone ever like considered that maybe there was stress or a tragedy or something that happened during the day or in your life that could have caused this at some point? Like,
Well,
could it be
I
related in
definitely
some way?
acknowledge, I definitely acknowledge that it could be any number of things. And I don't automatically attribute any kind of you know, supernatural or non-mundane explanation for it. For all I know, it could very well just be a chemical setup in my brain that, you know, I wake up before my body knows that I'm trying to wake up, and it doesn't clear out those paralyzing neurotransmitters out of my brain until, you know, and it's too late. I'm already conscious and I still have all that in my system. And you know, who knows what the brain does or shows you during those times. And I've been, you know, I've been in situations where you're in that twilight between sleeping and being awake, and the brain is just in a totally different zone, a totally different state at that time. And that's actually a very fascinating place to be. But the thing is, when you can move and you're not paralyzed, it's great. But when you are paralyzed, that's when the scary things tend to happen. You know, so there's got to be something there. I just don't know what it is, and it doesn't necessarily have to be some external, you know, paranormal implications.
But I also understand what you're saying, yes. And I can see that where, you know, you're waking up, but you're not awake and your brain isn't done, you know. Yeah, I can see that too.
I've heard a lot of people talk about them seeing, they call him the man with the hat.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen the man with the hat?
I've seen a man, but I couldn't really tell if he had a hat because he was basically electrocuting me every time I saw him.
Damn.
Oh, well,
damn.
That's not a good thing.
Yeah, I didn't catch the hat.
Okay.
That was another thing. That was actually a recurring villain in my experiences, and it was one of those things that made me really question what the heck was going on, because it was almost like I didn't see him for a long time. I only saw him one time, and then that was the last time I had this experience. But I was slowly working my way towards being able to see him. So what was happening with this is I would wake up, be paralyzed, and then seconds later I would start feeling almost like I was being shocked, like I was being hit with a taser. And I've been hit with tasers multiple times, and so I know exactly how that feels. And this is pretty much, maybe it was almost as bad as actually being tased is the experience I was going through. But it sucked because it was much longer than the normal 5 seconds or so that a taser normally goes for.
Do you think that? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Mr. Extremes.
Well, I'll be brief.
No, you're fine.
I would wake up, be paralyzed, and then before I could do anything, I would start feeling this tasing experience, and it was so intense that I would actually be unable to breathe and I would pass out.
Oh,
and
Jeez.
then a couple weeks or months later, I would wake up, but I started to notice after a while that there was a split second instance of time where I could move my body if I tried, and immediately started moving as soon as I woke up. So I would wake up and immediately start trying to get out of my bed or trying to sit up in my bed and move. But then literally halfway through that motion of sitting up, I would start getting that electrifying feeling and be paralyzed to the point where my lungs can't even inflate, and I literally just black out from lack of oxygen. That's the experience. Maybe that's not what's really happening to me, but I had that distinct experience each time.
absolutely terrifying.
Yeah.
And after the fourth or fifth time that happened, I was able to just coincidentally, during the split second that I can move, I was able to kind of turn towards the hallway that leads into my bedroom. And in that hallway, I saw this extremely shadowy figure. And this figure was holding his hand out towards me, almost like he was inflicting this. And like I moved and turned towards that hallway area. And then the shock starts, and I'm paralyzed and I can't move and I can't breathe. But I see this thing holding an arm out, like with a hand outstretched towards me, as though he's causing this to happen. And
Wow.
I didn't see a hat, but I saw a shadowy figure.
Wow.
And that was the last time
That's
it
just
happened.
traumatizing.
Yeah. I can't even imagine.
I can't even. I had an experience after my mom died. If you would like, I can talk to you another time about it, but not right now. So, Patience does have a question, and
She says, she asks, yeah, that is terrifying. Patience asks, what kind of video would you like to do that you haven't done before, even if it's something that wouldn't necessarily fit on your channel?
That's a good question. I would have to say, if I could do any video right now, it would be, I don't know, it's kind of impractical, but I would like to do a video where I come up with like a drawing, an image, and then like crowdsource it, have them tell me, okay, we want to see this, and this, some kind of challenge, and then for me to draw it and create an entire, create something, a visual story, however long it takes to do, and have that be the video, like that whole process.
That would be cool.
Let's do it.
That's one thing I've always kind of wanted to do, and I think I could do it, but it would take a long time. Not that matters. I mean, I do that sometimes, but I think that's one thing I would like to do.
You say when, and I'm sure Filia and I would love to be a part of it and help you with it.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Would love to.
Yeah, maybe one day I'll figure something out with that.
Okay, sounds great.
Okay, so I got a question for you. When you're getting ready to sit down and record, not when you go live, but when you're getting ready to sit down and record, do you have a specific routine? Do you have to have your water in a specific place, and do you have to wear like specific clothing, or are you what's your way to get ready to record?
Well, what I do, my routine starts long before I sit down to start recording, because I have to be hydrated. I have to be drinking water throughout the day. And because it's not enough for me to just start drinking water like an hour before, because then I just get all these cracks and mouth noises and stuff, and I totally hate those. And I have to admit, I haven't hydrated enough today because I went out unexpectedly and had to do something. So I'm a little mouth noisy today, right now. But I have a solution for that now, which is this honey and mint oil tea that that's part of my routine now. That's like one thing that I never stream or speak online without.
Must need that link.
Yeah, it's literally, this organic mint oil. Put 1 drop of that in some hot water, and then mix in a little bit of honey, like a 1/4 teaspoon of honey, and it's delicious. And for me, it helps keep my vocals hydrated well. Everything's all nice and lubricated.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Cool. Thank you for the advice.
Okay.
I believe
so
Derringer has a question. But,
well, he's not done with answering my question. Derringer can wait.
Wait, what was it?
I had to add a little.
I was asking about the rest of your routine. So you've got you've got your hydration now. You started earlier in the day. You've got your hydration. You've got your honey tea. Do you have to wear like in the wintertime? I have like special fuzzy socks that I wear.
Oh no! It's way too hot in my studio to wear socks. So or pants. So I got a t-shirt on and some shorts. And,
well, of course you do live in one of those hot places.
Yeah, I'm down in Florida, and it's really cool enough for socks. Maybe if it's like an unusually cold winter, maybe I'll throw some socks on. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I do have kind of a setup, like a logistical setup on my desk. I've got my 2 giant water jugs. Right now I have 3 mugs. I don't know why, but I do. Yeah, that's about it. I'm usually wearing one of my merch shirts. Not right now, since I'm not on camera, and I didn't want to get a shirt all dirty without having a really nobody seeing it. So I'm just wearing a normal shirt.
I'm gonna have to get one of your merch.
Hey,
yeah, you don't have one of his mugs. You
no,
don't have a Mr. Extreme's mug.
I really don't, and I really got to get Breakers, and I got to get Mr. Extremes, which will bring the total to 30.
Oh wow, you're a collector.
Yes,
she's a collector.
I got so much merch. I could start my own store. That's not
you should
either.
auction some of those off one day.
Right?
Okay, so Derringer asks, you're standing in front of a table that has every condiment and topping you can imagine on it, and you have a hot dog in your hand. What do you put on the hot dog to make it perfect?
This is going to sound really weird and really simplistic, but I defy anyone to try it and tell me I'm wrong. Ketchup, onion powder, relish. That's it.
Onion powder, relish, dill or sweet?
Sweet.
Sweet. Okay. I'm gonna try this.
Yeah, and the relish is optional. Honestly, the best flavor on a hot dog to me personally is a little bit of ketchup and a generous sprinkling of onion powder. Yeah,
definitely
it's something about it. It elevates it in a way that I fail to describe.
Well, when I try it, I'm gonna take a picture of it and I'm gonna tag Twitter.
Yeah, that's probably gonna cause me to immediately go to the store and get a hot dog and do the same.
Raven says he does relish and stone ground mustard. I'm one of those people that everybody hates because I like mayonnaise with my hot dogs.
So do I. Hello.
It's got to be an Arizona thing. It's got to be an Arizona thing.
Yeah, you guys are all have been driven insane from the heat because humans are not supposed to live there.
I guess that's what it is. Yeah, even the Anasazi figured that out and they left too.
Right? So, question for you, Mr.
Grilled onions. See?
Oh, yes. Grilled onions and mayonnaise. Yes.
And mayonnaise.
That doesn't sound bad. I
Grilled onions and mayonnaise, definitely. We've been in Arizona too long, sis. So,
peanut butter, mayo, shrimp, fried rice sounds good. Peanut butter, mayo, and shrimp fried rice sounds good.
Oh, God,
together,
no.
On a hot dog? Derringer. Is that what you're saying?
What?
Oh.
I don't know about the mayo, but peanut butter, shrimp fried rice. I mean, hey, it kind of has like a Thai thing going there. I could kind of do that.
Okay.
I don't know if I would do the mayo though. I don't know if I would do the mayo with the peanut butter.
So, off the subject of hot dogs here a minute. Mr. Extremes, you've had several people send you stories through emails and stuff. And usually because of your numbers, people are afraid to reach out and ask you to do a collab. What do you say to that? Do you say, yeah, get a hold of me, or I will give you advice and watch you on your journey?
The way that I deal with collab approaches is it's not based on numbers. I base it on, if somebody, no matter who it is, whether they have 5 subscribers or 50,000 or 500,000.
Well, because of your numbers, they're afraid to approach you.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. This goes out to anyone who would think about it. I judge whether I'm going to do a collab with someone based on their content, and what I think about their content. So if somebody sends me an email, and anybody's free to send me that type of email anytime, or DM or whatever, but the first thing I do is click on their link and see what their channel is all about, see what they're up to, what type of stuff they talk about, and how much effort they put into their content. So even if a person has much less than me or much fewer viewers than I do, if they put in a large amount of effort and I can see that they really, they're trying to do something interesting with their channel, and and I can see that they're talented, that's what will help me. That's what would cause me to decide to work with another person.
Awesome.
Sometimes I'll get someone say, hey, I'd like to know if you want to collab, and I look at them and they have 2 videos, and the videos are not well made, or the person just clearly is not focused on creating interesting content. That's when I will say, hey, you know what? I would if you would like to hear a little bit of advice, I'll give you some advice. But I don't really want to do a collab right now. Maybe come back once you've built up your channel a little bit and figure out where you want to go with it. Because there's many different reasons for that. Like if I direct a handful of people toward a channel,
right,
and that channel doesn't really even know what they're trying to do, then I'm kind of wasting people's time in a way. It's not going to be a reliable source of interest for them at that stage. So I'd rather do that when the channel has become a reliable source of interest for people. It's better for everybody if that's the type of person that I choose to work with. Like, you know, I've worked with many, I've done collabs with many very, you know, relatively small, and I'm not a huge, I don't have a big following myself, but relative to me, very small YouTube channels, you know, with 1,000 or 600 subscribers. I've done that many times, you know, because it's not about the numbers, it's about the effort and the quality that they're putting out. And they're, you know, it's just got to be, I have to be pointing people in a good direction of something that I know that they're going to enjoy. Otherwise, it's, you know, I'd rather the person work on it and get it up to par before we do that.
It's a good answer. Awesome answer. And I completely understand.
Piggybacking on that, when someone approaches you with the idea of, hey, I would love to collab with you, do you feel like if they approach you, then they should be the one bringing the story?
I don't know. I mean, if they want me to go onto their channel or do a story for their channel, I expect them to have a story for me to read, you know. But if I'm going to have them on my channel, I give them a story for them to read from, you know, that I write myself, you know. That's just how I do it. Yeah.
That's channel to channel collab.
That's what I thought. That's what I think too. But some people come up and they're like, I want to collab with you. I'm like, okay, great. And they're like, do you have anything for me? I'm like, no.
Yeah.
That's not my job. If you want to collab with me, you bring me something. It's not, you know, not my job to find something for you to collab with me, because that's, you know. But
So,
there should be some mutual effort going in on both sides.
Right.
There should.
Absolutely.
So you've had the sleep paralysis, and Filia and I know, and maybe a few others, but have you ever had a paranormal experience?
I've had a few encounters with shadow people in some, you know, in some ways. Nothing as major. The most major one was the one that I just described with the sleep paralysis, with the I called him at the time, I called him the freezing man. And because that's, you know, it would freeze me in place when I when I was experiencing that. But yeah, that was almost, to me, possibly a paranormal experience. But I mean, as far as the standard ghost or that type of thing, I can't really, nothing comes to mind right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
But you do believe in paranormal.
I'm grateful for that. I believe that anything is possible. You know, and I know that there's a lot that we don't understand, and I don't presume anything to be completely out of the question, if that makes sense.
I don't know if these two are related, and it would be interesting to actually have a discussion at some point to see if we could figure out if these two are related. But what about out of body experience? God, out of
Astral
body
projection.
Thank you. Yes, astral projection.
Yeah, that I do. I mean, you see, there's so much to these concepts. I believe that in some ways it's possible to project your consciousness, but it might not necessarily be in the way that pop culture says it works. You know, for example, I believe that people are all connected. Like, we're connected by some kind of network that we're just not aware of, some type of collective consciousness or something along those lines. that, you know, I'm working on, for example, I'm working on a dark urban fantasy novel in which basically people are connected by a common dream world. Like when people are dreaming, we're all going to the same place. Like anyone who's dreaming is occupying this kind of next level of existence that human beings have access to.
Actually, a friend and I experienced that one time.
Where you had two people in the same dream, space? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
And I've had that too with one of my cousins. And that's one of the reasons why I think that, you know, people are connected in that way. And I would say, I mean, if you use the term astral projection, there might be a way to tap into someone else's perspective. You know what I mean? So they're projecting themselves, or you're projecting yourself towards them, or some kind of weird combination. But at the end of the day, you're experiencing or perceiving things that are not happening around you, but they are happening somewhere. So in a way, that is a sort of quasi astral projection setup, if you know what I mean. I don't know.
That's almost like dream walking. I don't know.
Well, how would you describe dream walking?
Dream walking, to me, is when you enter someone else's dreams, or when someone enters your dream that, you know, like a weirdly random placed person that doesn't belong in that dream. You know, like you're having a dream about, you know, cowboys and Indians, and then you see a medieval knight in the dream, and it's like, okay, that doesn't belong here. That makes no sense. It has nothing to do with it. And then you find out that a friend of yours was having a dream about being a medieval knight, but there was cowboys and Indians that showed up. It's like, okay, one of the two of you walked into the other person's dream.
Yeah.
Right.
And I know people that have done that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I definitely think there's something to that. And you know, it could very well be something we just don't understand about ourselves as of yet. Maybe in 100 years or 1,000 years, people will be able to do that at will.
Yeah.
You know, who knows?
Well, there was a time, I mean, I know this is different from dream walking or astral projecting. This is years ago. And my kids were at school, and I went and laid down. I was not asleep, at least I was awake, because I still remember what the room looked like. And I felt somebody touch my leg, and they go, "Patricia." And they said it over and over. And I looked up, and as plain as if you were in this room with me right now, my grandma Ruby was standing there, and she was holding her coffee mug. She was not in spirit form. She was in full body form, as though she was alive. Just walked into my room, and she
wanted coffee.
Well, she wanted me to give a message to my mom, which later I did, but she was as real as you or I right now.
You have to make the coffee?
Literally. No, she, because I had bought her that coffee mug years earlier, and she just, I guess that's just how she showed up, you know, holding her favorite coffee mug, but it was a plastic Circle K one, turquoise.
Oh.
But when she touched me, it would be like if you were to come in the room and touch me. There was, you know, no hand going through or anything. And I've never, ever have been able to understand that to this day.
Wow.
Okay.
It's really
Patience asks if there's someone. We're jumping tracks here. If there's someone that you would like to collab with.
Yes.
Hmm. Well, honestly, I've collab every person that I've really wanted to collab with. I have, except Corpse Husband. That's the only person I haven't been able to collab with yet. Although there is something in the works with him.
Really?
Oh,
I
really?
actually managed to get a hold of him.
Yeah,
Oh,
he's
thanks,
the most difficult person to get a hold of, and it's
I was going to say.
yeah.
I
Oh
didn't
my
think
God, thanks
anybody
for
could do that
reminding me.
anymore.
Corpse Husband and Bad Vibes was supposed to do some kind of, was it? No, who was it? Vidith. Somebody that we interviewed had let out a secret about merch between them and Corpse Husband. But anyways, go on.
Yeah, I mean, all the people that I've collabed with and the ones that I still occasionally collab with are all people that I've been working with since we were all much smaller than we are now. Like when I had 1,000 subscribers, Let's Read had like 30,000, and he was one of the first people that were like, "Hey, yeah, man, we can work together," you know. And I did a collab, and so now, you know, he's like almost at 1 million, and we still occasionally do something once in a while, you know. And Dark Waters is another one. He was probably, I think Dark Waters was the first person that I collabed with, and he's the man, one of the greatest storytellers on YouTube.
Yes.
And just the way he tells stories, it feels like it's your uncle or something, and you're on the back porch just chilling and listening to stories. That's the feeling that I get to this day, even though I know him and I talk to him on the phone and stuff sometimes. That I still get that feeling listening to him tell stories. But yeah, I mean, I've worked with almost everybody that I've ever felt like working with, you know. And it's cool. Dr. Creepin. Oh, being scared is one person that we always talk about doing something in the future, doing a project, and we haven't gotten around to it yet.
I would love to see.
But
Definitely.
one day we'll get around to it. He's a super cool dude.
He is. He really is. Amazing interview with him. So, Mr. Extremes, you're going to be executed.
You were a bad boy.
A bad boy. What would your last meal be? And would it be the electric chair or the needle?
Yeah. What would your mode of death be?
Guillotine. No.
Oh.
Well, I don't know, maybe. And definitely not the electric chair. Definitely not that. The needle, I'm not sure. I'd almost go guillotine just because I don't know what the person is going to feel when they get the injection, and sometimes they screw it up and it's like you're basically in hell for like 20 minutes and I don't think I want that.
Guillotines are hard to mess up.
Yeah. I mean, I would
your
say
brain is
guillotine.
still alive for 20 seconds afterwards.
Yeah, but that's kind of interesting to me. I'd like to know. If I have to die, I'd like to know what that's like. You know, if I have no choice. But yeah, I would say guillotine would put about 200 pounds of extra weight on top of the blade just to make sure, so they don't have to like have somebody jam on it to get it through my head or through my neck.
Yeah,
because I have a kind of a thick neck. So, I'm thinking this through here. My last meal, it would be a bacon quadruple cheeseburger.
Oh my goodness!
Gosh.
Yeah, I would throw some pepper jack on there, some aged white cheddar, and Gouda. 4 patties, lettuce, tomato, ketchup. Hey, Nightmare Files, what's up, man? For dessert, I would do a thick slice of Oreo cheesecake.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Hello, NF. Thank you for joining us.
No. I get a little scared every time I see the name Nightmare Files. His videos are very intense.
They are.
They are very intense, and we had an interview with him, which was amazing.
It was. So your last meal, you don't care about calories or nothing. You're just gonna go for it.
No, why?
Right.
I mean,
Exactly.
I'm about not to have a body when I get that guillotine anyway. So.
Yeah, I think it would be interesting to see if you could, if the brain actually does stay alive, like they say.
Yeah.
Right. For 20 seconds.
You know, I wonder if anybody, they probably never thought of it because they haven't used the guillotine in quite a while. At least 75 years, I believe. You know, hooking someone up to an EEG machine. And then do the guillotine. That would be interesting to me.
Yeah, see how long the brain functions.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. We're morbid. Yeah. We are very morbid.
Very morbid.
Yeah.
Nightmare Files actually was my birthday interview, and it just happened to work out that way. He was on June 6th. 5 days later was my birthday, so it was awesome. So,
she needs a lot of those.
We almost have the same birthday.
Yes. Do we?
Yeah.
We Geminis.
Yep.
Yep.
Whatever that means.
Twins. I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't decided whether it's significant. You know, whether those things are. I'm sure they more often than not do apply. You know, all the things that they say about people with different zodiac signs. I'm just not sure if it's you know, I don't know, something to live by.
Right. True. Real quick, also a reminder to everyone in chat and those who will later be listening to this video. Do not forget, beginning October 7th at 6 p.m. PST, Grave Matters will be moving too. So, also, don't forget that on October 28th, which is Thursday at 6 p.m. PST, Grave Matters is having their Haunted Punch Bowl. So, like Mr. Extremes or someone would like to come in and tell us your creepiest Halloween story, or just hang out and talk, DM either I, Raven, or Filia.
What she forgot to say was on Thursday, October 7th, on October 7th, we are moving to Thursdays.
Yes, we are moving to Thursdays.
You kind of forgot that part. We're actually moving to Thursdays. We won't be on Sundays anymore. We will be on Thursdays after October 7th.
So, Mr. Extremes, if you would like to stop by on the 28th, feel free.
We're actually on the 28th. We're going to have people stop by and tell us their own little weird Halloween stories. Anything strange that ever happened to you while you were like out trick-or-treating or something along those lines.
Okay, that sounds cool.
We're calling it the Halloween Punch Bowl.
The haunted punch bowl.
Yes, the Haunted Punch Bowl. So, is there any more questions?
I'm sure we could come up with one or two. Anybody else out there in the chat want to ask him anything? Now would be the time. And
I think I saw a couple of questions there. Someone was asking if I ever worked with Dark Somnium.
Oh yeah, Christine asked, "Have you ever worked with the Dark Somnium?" Have you ever worked with Ronnie?
I feel like I have done a collab or two. I know I've worked with him for some of his graphics. That weird like alien face that he used. I think he just recently changed it or updated it, but I drew that for him. The last avatar that he used to use. I drew that a while back for him.
Are you accepting commissions?
I like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm always I'm always, well, not always, but often doing commissions for people and stuff like that. It's just fun.
He uses that for his Discord.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
Like that.
Oh, speaking of Discords, there was a question. Do you have a Discord, and are you accepting people into your Discord?
Yeah, I mean, my Discord is open.
Okay. I wasn't sure if it was or not, so I was going to wait for that. Would you like me to put a link to that?
Sure. Yeah,
Okay.
if you want, that's fine.
I can do that.
So,
yeah, that's a pretty fun time there.
Oh, I can't wait to join. So, who, dead or alive, would you want to read your eulogy?
Maybe Morgan Freeman.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Good choice.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, something of I mean, do I really need to explain why? Probably.
No. So you've decided you're gonna have a dinner. Who are the 5 people you would invite? Why? And what would you serve them?
Anybody from anything horror, movies, books,
horror.
Horror.
Okay, so are you talking about like actual characters or
Characters, actors, writers, directors, authors, narrators, anybody.
Man,
It could be Vincent Price, or it could be Bram Stoker. Bram, the guy that wrote.
Man, wow, this is a tough one. I'm actually kind of drawing a blank. I didn't know it was going to be horror related. Believe it or not, I'm not a huge horror buff. I've seen. I just saw like the first 3 Freddy Krueger movies like 2-3 years ago for the first time. So I'm not really well versed in that.
Okay.
If I could expand that to non-horror, I would simply say the cast of my favorite movie of all time, The Matrix.
Okay, that would be great.
Yeah, I'm talking about the characters. Or either the thing is, these people are so awesome that I would take either the characters from the Matrix or the actors and actresses themselves. I'm talking about Keanu Reeves, Lawrence Fishburne, Carrie-Anne Moss, Hugo Weaving,
or Neo, and
or Neo, Morpheus, and them. The crew in character. Either one would be satisfactory. And I would probably just serve them all cake, because cake is significant to the lore of the movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just would love. I mean, if I was to ever see Lawrence Fishburne and I don't know if anybody's seen John Wick. I hope I'm not spoiling anything, but I think in the 2nd or 3rd John Wick movie, Lawrence Fishburne is in it. And that's not really a spoiler, but when I saw Lawrence Fishburne and Keanu Reeves on the screen at the same time, I literally cried, because it had been, almost 20 years since I'd last seen them on screen together. And that's how much The Matrix, that movie, impacted my life, where I love those characters so much that seeing the actors in a totally unrelated project on screen together brought me to tears. So yeah, those are some of my most treasured, in my head anyway.
That is amazing.
Characters.
Cool. Yeah, that would be. That would be cool.
That would be amazing. Well, it's getting about that time, so.
Okay. Gamma Aputabi said it was the 2nd movie that he was in.
Oh, the 2nd.
Say that again.
Gamma Aputabi said it was the 2nd movie.
Yeah. Okay. So John Wick 2. Thank you for that.
So it's about that time again, you guys.
Thank you so much for being here.
Yes, thank you everyone in the chat for being here. Again, Patience, thank you for letting us have Raven again. Raven, thank you again. You both are amazing. Sis, thank you again.
You're welcome.
Love having you as my host.
I have missed you. It's been 2 weeks and it seemed like forever.
Me too. And Mr. Extremes, thank you again for being here with us today. This has been an amazing interview. Truly an honor to have you. Thank you
The honor
so
is all
much.
mine, my friends. Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome.
So wonderful.
So until next week, stay frightened, and remember, if you do listen, the graves always whisper. Mr. Extremes?
Hey, well, it's a pleasure being here. Thank you all very much, and greetings to all those in attendance. I hope you all have a great rest of your weekend and stay safe out there.
Do we have a word?
I'm sorry.
Do you have a word? Do we have a word for them?
Oh,
a code.
Code word. All right. So whoever's listening at this point, you're the serious ride or die followers of the Nevermore Collective. Type the word kumquat into your comment down below, so we can see you.
In the comment section, yes. Type kumquat in the comment section.
Yeah. If you know, you know.
If you know, you know.
So sis, go ahead and send us out.
Okay. If you're interested, the Nevermore Collective is a group of content creators that have come together to create a stage. It's a platform for anyone in the community. It is designed for content that may not fit your normal channel. Currently, we have 2 interview shows, The Traveler's Tavern and Grave Matters. We also have some narrators that game on this channel and a show about cryptids. We can also host videos. So if you have any question about joining or hosting a show on the platform, please reach out to any of us as The Raven Dreams, PA Nightmare, 42 Dreams, Filia Noctis, or CreepyClownGirl. And remember, once you've joined the collective, you can leave nevermore.
Bye, everyone.
Mwah.
Bye.